Hey, good morning. This is Jackie Kilgore with the Jacci Group at Compass Real Estate. I am joined this morning by the agents on our team, Bailey, Susan, and the star of today's topic, Emily. We're here to talk about the CISD bond. If you have been receiving items like this in your mailbox, you've probably heard of it. What you don't know is, how did it get there? How is it created? Why is it created? And what is the impact to you as homeowners? And that's a topic we're going to explore today. We're going to focus on Emily. Emily Braud has volunteered her time and expertise in the bond committee, and she's going to be able to answer a lot of frequently asked questions that I know I have, and maybe you do too.
Thanks, Jackie. I'm excited to be here today to fill everybody in on the CISD Bond Committee and what we did as part of the committee and how we came about developing the bond that will be on the November election.
So tell me, where does this all start? How does this process get to this? What's the committee do?
Yeah. So personally, I reached out to our superintendent of schools, Dr. Null, about a year and a half ago because I had a concern about safety in our schools, as I'm sure many of us share that concern. And he and I chatted for a while, and he suggested that I volunteer to be on the bond committee, which was news to me. Wasn't sure what the bond committee was or what it was going to be. And so when the call came out from CISD requesting volunteers, I threw my name in the hat. So CISD was looking for students, parents of Conroe ISD obviously of Conroe ISD students, business owners, community leaders, and so they selected about 150 people to participate in the bond committee. And we started meeting in February, and we had 11 meetings between February and July. And during those meetings, we learned about the needs of the district, infrastructure needs, new buildings, etc. We studied demographics. We studied how our schools are growing. We took all of that information. We studied several different scenarios of what would fill those needs. And then after many votes, many surveys, we narrowed it all down to the 4 propositions that will be on the election.
I think that's the most interesting part of this bond, as opposed to bonds that I've followed prior, is that they've segmented into 4 different categories.
Yeah.
Can you explain why?
Yeah, that was very important to us as a committee because we've had some bonds that have failed before because there were things included in the bonds that many voters disagreed with. So Proposition A is obviously the most important and the one that we really need to see passed. It's about $1.8 billion. It includes 8 new schools for our capacity, which is growing at an untenable pace. All of our schools are over capacity. The district is just growing more rapidly than anyone could imagine. So again, it's building 8 new schools. It's renovating a couple of schools. It's adding additions to a few schools. Proposition A also includes infrastructure, so your HVAC, your lighting, your plumbing updates. It includes technology infrastructure as well, so the wiring that we need to run all of the technology. It includes much needed transportation. I'm sure everyone's heard about our bus situation, the aging buses, things like that. So that's included in Proposition A. So all very important things to sustain our district and help our district continue to grow.
That's interesting. Is this going to affect the teachers' salaries at all?
No, unfortunately, the bonds are only to cover capital expenditures, no salaries. So hopefully with the surplus that the state has, teachers will receive some sort of stipend or bonus that will help with their salaries.
So what is included in the bond package?
So we talked about Prop A, which is the $1.8 billion. It's the largest prop, and it includes new schools, infrastructure, transportation, etc. We as a bond committee voted to have 4 different propositions to give the voter the choice of what they wanted to support. So maybe they disagreed with part of the bond, they could vote for other parts of the bond. So it's really flexible for a voter. So hopefully we have more opportunity to get each proposition passed. Proposition B is all of the technology devices. It's required by law that technology devices be in a separate proposition. So that's Proposition B. It's about $40 million for new technology devices. So computers, tablets, Chromebooks, etc. Proposition C includes 16 new elementary gyms. So a lot of people aren't familiar that several elementary schools in our district have one building that serves as the gym, auditorium, and cafeteria. and it really hinders physical education because they don't have the time that they need. They have to tear down for lunch to set up for PE, etc.
That's really surprising.
Yeah, it's
especially in an elementary setting.
Right. It's very challenging. It's very challenging. I spoke with several PE teachers who are really looking forward to getting gyms in their schools. So Prop C is $113 million, and it includes 16 gyms as well as a new ag barn to serve South County. We only have one ag barn currently in North County, so this would be an ag barn off of Booty Road to serve the students in the South County. And then Proposition D is a new 50-meter outdoor pool, which will be built right next to the current natatorium. Our district has one pool for 6 high schools. Several surrounding districts have a pool at each high school. So we have a very overcrowded pool. UIL just added a new sport, water polo. So now we have to service water polo as well as swimmers. So this would be an additional pool built next to the natatorium as well as a natatorium refurbishment.
Do you think that's the hardest one to get past?
I personally agree that would be the hardest to get past. That's another reason it's in its own proposition. So if someone doesn't think we need a pool, if they don't think that's very important, they can vote for A, B, and C and choose not to vote for D.
Just as a sidebar, just because I don't know. And I get technology and I get everything else. The pool's the hard part. But I wonder how many students in 6 high schools, that's a lot. So how many students are swimmers? How many students compete? How many students might be college-driven, college-bound as part of a swimming program and whatnot? It'd be interesting to know that.
Yeah, I know the Woodlands High School, for one, has an amazing swim program. They're one of the highest ranked in the state. So we certainly have a lot of really talented swimmers in our district. And in addition, a lot of the club teams use the natatorium as well for their swim practice. So it's a very well-used facility. It has a great value for our students, but again, it's way overcrowded.
Sounds like students are going to swim at 3 a.m. or something.
They are,
crazy.
especially kids coming from the
Imagine.
north. They have to get up well before school to make it all the way down to the natatorium to get their practice in and then get back to school. So it's quite a challenge.
It's somewhat akin to having one facility for all the cheer or all the dancers or all that. It doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense.
Same for the ag barn. That's why they've decided to offer another ag barn. Same thing. The kids have to get up really early to make it to the barn to do their morning barn chores before school starts.
Crazy.
So just even seeing like how many new clients and stuff we have looking in the Conroe area and that have students of the age that are going to go into CISD, how does this affect them and how much growth has it seen so far?
Yeah, so traditionally over history, CISD grew by about 1,500 students each year for about the last decade. Well, since 2021, we've been growing at about 3,000 students a year, so almost double.
I can believe that with the number of new developments,
all
right?
of the new construction, yeah. So right now we're around 72,000. In the next 10 years, they project will be over 90,000, which is therein lies the need for the additional schools being built, which is a big part of Prop A.
So Prop A is intended to accommodate the student growth that we can't right now, or the growth that was already occurred. But to my understanding, it's also providing for that anticipated growth, right?
Yes, so we also have in Prop A land purchases, so we can buy the land that we will need to build the schools as we grow. We do already have some land, so some of these schools will, as soon as the bond is passed, they will start breaking ground and start construction because we do already own some of the pieces of land, but we do need to buy additional pieces of land. And as we know, as real estate agents, land goes up in value every year, so we might as well buy it now rather than wait till we need it.
Right, in
Yeah,
anticipation of
exactly.
it. So who's going to benefit from this?
Actually, this bond is all encompassing. Every student in CISD will benefit from this bond. There are several parts of Prop A: technology, transportation, safety. Every campus will feel that impact in a positive way. And then Proposition B is technology devices. So every campus will receive new technology devices, updates to their technology. Prop C, as we mentioned, will service 16 elementary gyms, but then also the ag barn will service the part of the South County that doesn't currently have an ag barn. And then Prop D will serve all of the swimmers in our district. So really, it touches everyone in a very positive way. None of the schools are left out. Each feeder zone receives a lot of benefits. So it really is one that we hope will pass by unanimous vote, just because it does affect everyone in a positive way.
So we said earlier, this bond has been divided up into 4 bite-sized pieces, right? Okay.
Right.
And so my understanding then is that when somebody's in the voting booth in November, they can choose, it's a la carte, right? They can
Right.
choose those portions of the bond that they wish
Correct.
and not
Correct.
against. All right. And then what is the impact then? So kind of multi-part question. What is the impact? How am I selecting all of them? Am I selecting all of them, or is there an E for all?
No, there will be 4 separate buttons per se in the voting booth for Prop A, B, C, and D. So I really encourage people to do your research, see all the nuts and bolts of each proposition so you can make an educated vote as to what you are supporting. Maybe there are a few things you're not going to support, and that's okay. You can certainly vote against those, but I will tell you that many hours by many dedicated volunteers went into building this bond package, and we're really hopeful that everyone can see the value of each of the items in each proposition.
So assuming that I vote yes on all of these, how is that going to affect me as a taxpayer?
So it's projected if Prop A and any portion of B, C, and D pass, so say Prop A and Prop B pass, or Prop A, B, and C, or all of them pass, there will be a 2-cent impact on our property taxes. But I do want to point out that CISD has the lowest tax rate of similar sized school districts in the Houston area. We're currently at 1.1146. But also our tax rate recently decreased by 15.25 cents thanks to Senate Bill 2. So if you're looking at a home valued of around $350,000, you'd be saving about $1,000 annually with this recent decrease that's going into effect for the year 2023 to 2024. So even if all of the bond propositions passed, and we do see that 2-cent impact, it's about $4 a month on a $350,000 home, about $50 a year. But again, you need to think about that additional money that you're saving from the decrease that we just had. So if you look at it that way, your pocketbook is certainly not going to feel it, but what an impact it's going to make on our district. And even if $50 a year, look at the changes, the positive things that could come to our district to help sustain our growth. And also, our district is very highly desired as far as people moving here. Yeah. So as real estate agents, that's something that we really are lucky to be able to sell, is a great school district. So for a very small investment, we can make such a huge impact. But again, with the decrease that was just passed, you're really not going to feel it.
Well, I think the parent who says, hey, my kiddo in whatever school I'm in CISD, right, we're either going to have access to new technology, we're going to have access to new equipment, we've got new schools and new facilities, for the cost of, well, actually less than the cost of a cup of coffee at Starbucks. I can't replace that as a parent, right? That's a tremendous investment. But the client, or the homeowner, the taxpayer in Conroe, whose property falls in Conroe ISD that isn't utilizing that, right? Let's just talk about that, that perhaps that homeowner that's 65 or over that isn't utilizing the Conroe ISD bond. They're not using the services. They don't have anybody to benefit for it.
Right.
Impact to them?
Well, actually, no, because if they have filed their 65 and over exemption, their rate will be frozen and they will not be impacted by the 2-cent increase. So it's really a great service to the seniors in our community that don't have children in the school, although I highly encourage everyone to support it because we have grandkids. Yeah. It helps keep our property values where they are. It increases the desirability of our community. So it will not affect those 65 and over, but I do still encourage them to vote for the bond.
I agree.
So how do we get involved? How do we find out more?
Yeah, so there will be several town halls, public meetings being held. We can certainly share that information, those dates and times, but I highly encourage you to visit a town hall, learn more about the bond. Even if you're in support of the bond, it's great to learn the ins and outs so you can share it with your friends, families, coworkers, etc. The number one thing is to make sure you're registered to vote. We need to make sure.
What's the deadline for that?
Yeah, so you have to register by October 10th, and early voting starts on October 23rd. If you want to skip the election day rush, you can certainly early vote. And also, we have a website set up, ConroeISDBond.com. You can go on there to learn more about the bond. You can request a yard sign. You can find ways to get involved.
Terrific.
Yeah.
And you're available to answer some questions.
Of course, yes. Anytime Sarah can share my information, I'm happy to answer any questions, phone, text, email, certainly reach out. It's been such an honor to be part of this process. I've always really felt strongly about education in our district. I have children that attend schools in the district. I sell real estate here in the district, so it was really important to me to get involved, to learn more about the process and be a part of the process.
I think the thing that stuck out to me most about what you said today is that Conroe ISD, being one of the largest school districts in the region, has the lowest tax rate.
Yeah.
What that suggests is that the people that are serving in these committees, our leadership in the district, are very good stewards of our tax dollars.
Yes.
And yet we have some of the highest rated schools
Yes.
in the state.
And they win awards yearly for their good stewardship of the funds. So it's certainly recognized on a national level.
I think that the thought and planning and community involvement that's gone into preparing for this bond is evidentiary of that.
Yeah.
Well, if you've got questions about all that we've presented today, we're going to have some links to the Conroe ISD website that Emily mentioned. Emily's available to answer questions that you might have, some frequently asked questions that we just didn't tackle today. There's a lot of data, right? So we're going to have some links to some terrific CISD printed material and some great graphics. But also, we'll have a link to Emily's contact information if you want to reach out, thank her for her service, or address any specific questions. Thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it.